we were just too much dribbling, just too much dribbling. You got to pass, you got to move the ball, you got to cut. And, we were fortunate to win that game. I mean, they dug really deep.
Becky Hammon just snapped, and Aja Wilson was right in the crosshairs. Why? Because the Aces just got outplayed, out-hustled, and flat-out embarrassed by a rookie from the Mystics. The locker room? Pure chaos. The vibes? Nuclear. And what Aja did after that loss might be the biggest red flag yet. Is the Aces dynasty starting to crack? This wasn't just a bad night, it felt like the opening scene of a full-blown collapse. And trust me, what Becky said behind closed doors, you're not ready.
We just saw a rookie match up to Aja Wilson and outplay her. We just saw a rookie match up to Aja and outplay her. Like that is a
Becky Hammon, the fiery, no-nonsense head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, looked like she was one blown whistle away from launching her blazer into orbit. Her reigning champs didn't just underperform, they turned into a confused ensemble cast in a slapstick comedy called How Not to Play Basketball. Courtside, Hammon's face cycled between stunned disbelief, simmering fury, and that unmistakable "I did not leave the NBA for this" express as the Aces stumbled, fumbled, and face-planted their way through a humiliating loss to the Washington Mystics. One thing was clear. This wasn't just a bad game. It was a full-blown identity crisis.
Today, Asia. You remember in preschool, kindergarten, learning the continents? You got Asia, Africa, North and South. That's the song I think of every time I hear Aja Wilson's name. It's nothing against her. It's just a personality quirk, I guess. Aja Wilson, the #1 victim in the WNBA, and it is a tight...
Let's be honest, it wasn't just any Mystic squad. This team wasn't the veteran-laden powerhouse from previous seasons. Instead, it was a rebuilding group, held together by hope, duct tape, and a rookie's determination. This rookie, fresh-faced and still navigating the locker room, decided it was the perfect moment to showcase her talent with a highlight reel performance. And on the receiving end of her debut dominance was none other than Aja Wilson. Maybe she'd prefer not to be reminded, but today, she was the victim of a schooling by someone still eligible for Rookie of the Month honors, a game that undoubtedly marked a memorable start for the young player.
This is what we should be talking about in the WNBA, the talent and the incredible games that it puts on, not all of the controversies and the drama that it brings. Because for this game not to be talked about on a large platform where you had Kiki Ariafra putting up a double-double and the young but talented Washington Mystics going head-to-head with the two-time world champion Las Vegas Aces.
It was one of those games where even the scoreboard seemed to shy away in embarrassment. The Aces' offense appeared to have been replaced by a chaotic try-this-at-home TikTok dance. Disorganized, offbeat, and painfully awkward. Passes sailed into the stands and shots clanged off the rim with the clumsiness of a toddler tossing Lego bricks. Defense? Best not to ask. Meanwhile, the Mystics rookie, brimming with unshakable confidence and clearly unbothered by scouting reports, turned the court into her personal showcase. She outmaneuvered, outshot, and outright humiliated the reigning champions as if it were just a casual scrimmage, leaving spectators in awe of her fearless debut performance.
And ain't it supposed to be talent over everything? Now you let the talent walk out the door and everybody sees it. And rest assured, there's going to come a time this season, Las Vegas is...
And Becky? Becky stood there, arms crossed so tightly her biceps probably filed a formal complaint, jaw clenched as she oscillated between, "I'm going to tear up this playbook," and "Is this what Pop meant when he said coaching is a journey?" Her team, once a dominant powerhouse, looked like they'd mistakenly wandered into the wrong arena and decided to go along with it. One thing's clear, if the Aces believed they could coast through the season, Becky Hammon's intense courtside meltdown and the rookie's stunning performance served as the loudest wake-up call they could have received. This isn't the same Aces team that steamrolled the league the past 2 seasons. Remember when opposing teams would arrive already defeated, expecting a 20-point loss?
All of a sudden it gets a lot more complicated. I mean, it was complicated enough for us tonight, and I don't know how many times you've seen it, and both leagues that I've worked in, both genders, doesn't matter. When a big time player goes out of the lineup, that other team steps up, and there's just this natural let up by the other team.
Las Vegas has gone from looking like an unstoppable dynasty to resembling a disorganized group chat that's lost its Wi-Fi connection. And Becky Hammon, she's had enough. The team's recent struggles on defense, or more accurately, the complete lack of it, have become the final straw. They seem incapable of defending even a paper towel from getting wet. Hammon's frustration is evident, her expression silent but loud, practically asking, "Are y'all serious?" In every language. The Aces' perimeter defense has become an open welcome mat, with guards dancing through as if it's open mic night at a salsa club. Inside, their defense is so soft it could be spread on toast. Leading this chaos is A'ja Wilson, the team's star and backbone. She started the season with fireworks, a triple-double, a statement that she's back on her MVP trajectory, ready to dominate and silence critics. But just a few games in, things are looking much different. Her shining moments have dimmed, and doubts are emerging about whether she can carry this team through the rough patches. The Aces' once imposing presence is now vulnerable, and they need to find their edge before it's too late.
In the first game. Like, A'ja Wilson is a player that if she shoots less than 10 free throws in a game, she's going to struggle. She's going to struggle. And the Aces have not looked great. Jewel Lloyd, pulling a Jewel Lloyd and then hits the game winner. Chelsea Gray, I'm sorry, Chelsea Gray, as good as Chelsea Gray has been, we're not putting 3.3 assists.
The issue isn't that A'ja Wilson has forgotten how to play basketball. Let's be clear, she remains one of the most talented and gifted players in the WNBA. What we're witnessing is a deeper, more systemic problem. A star player being dragged down by a team that no longer commands respect from opponents. Wilson's numbers are still impressive, but they're beginning to feel hollow, like empty calories. It's comparable to eating a salad without dressing. Technically healthy, but ultimately unsatisfying. She's finding herself under more pressure than ever before, taking on greater responsibilities, logging more minutes, and carrying the burden of heightened expectations that only grow louder with each game. Instead of rising as the undeniable MVP frontrunner, she appears more like a player desperately trying to hold her team together amid chaos. The mounting pressure is exposing vulnerabilities, and cracks are starting to show. Gone are the days when A'ja Wilson could coast on her past dominance. Now, every mistake is scrutinized, every loss dissected, and every underwhelming performance compared to the brilliance of her rivals.
9 points, but it was a very bad game from her, and they got their asses whooped, the Aces. Oh, yeah, what she have, 31 and 15, yeah. Who cares?
Tight race, folks. There are a lot of people campaigning, auditioning, working their ultimate best to be the #1 victim in the WNBA, but A'ja Wilson, man, she is showing everybody how it is done. If you want to be a victim, you need to be consistent. You need to go year after year after year after year saying the same message.
The Aces, once a dominant force in the league, now appear visibly shaky. Their team chemistry seems off, and the supporting cast is thinner than in previous seasons. While A'ja Wilson's individual stats remain outstanding, she's essentially carrying the team on her back, dragging it like a sled through molasses. Double-doubles, though impressive on paper, lose their luster when they're recorded in losses against teams Vegas used to beat comfortably. This shift hasn't gone unnoticed by voters, who are increasingly paying attention, not just to individual brilliance, but to team success. The MVP race favors momentum and sustained dominance, not just individual numbers or desperation efforts. Wilson's storyline is subtly shifting from being the shining beacon of excellence to a superstar trying to salvage a faltering season. If the Aces don't find a way to regroup quickly, Wilson risks not only losing her MVP lead, but also becoming a cautionary tale about how brilliance can fade when the team falters. Beyond her stats, there's a noticeable change in her demeanor. Her energy and vibe seem different. The effortless joy and charisma that once defined her are now showing cracks, possibly due to the mounting pressure of being the franchise's face year after year. The cracks are beginning to show, and she needs to find a way to reignite her spark before it's too late.
Aces, Aces, stop scaring us like this. My blood pressure is sky high. Okay? Aces.
Perhaps it's the mounting frustration of unmet expectations weighing heavily on her. Or maybe it's the harsh realization that this season will be a constant battle, requiring every ounce of effort just to stay afloat. Whatever the cause, the radiant glow that once made Aja Wilson so magnetic, that drew fans and teammates alike, feels noticeably dimmer. Her demeanor during games has shifted. She's visibly more irritable and on edge. Where she once uplifted her teammates with enthusiasm and encouragement, now there are eye rolls, sharp gestures, and visible signs of exasperation. Mistakes are met with frustration rather than leadership. This isn't the same Aja Wilson who made the game look effortless and inspired those around her. Now she appears burdened, tense, and harder to connect with. The human side of her is surfacing, revealing complexities that weren't as obvious before. The risk of being perceived as too intense or too dominant isn't trivial. Public perception influences more than just fan chatter. It impacts MVP campaigns, endorsement opportunities, and the way analysts evaluate her leadership. This shift could have long-term consequences if she can't find a way to reconnect with her usual confidence and joy on the court.
Aja Wilson needs help in the paint. There's no doubt about it. Kia Stokes can't be the only one, number one. Number two, you're not going to see the Aces with I can't imagine they're going to have any worse of a shooting night than they did the other day. You're just not going to see that. Jewel Lloyd has been struggling, and going back to last season, I think it's 5 straight games she shot less than whatever, 20-30% from three. She has to get into rhythm. But beyond Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, and Aja Wilson, this realistically is a new team having to come.
Aja Wilson isn't just playing basketball. She's also managing optics, expectations, and the weight of carrying a franchise that currently appears sluggish. If the Aces keep losing games and Wilson continues to seem like she's hauling a team of cardboard cutouts, the narrative surrounding her will shift. She might go from being the beloved franchise cornerstone to being seen as the frustrated, isolated superstar. Right now, she's not only the face of the Aces, she's the engine, the wheels, the steering wheel, and the fuel that keeps everything moving. That's not true leadership. That's overextending herself. So far, she's managed to avoid breaking, but the cracks are beginning to show. Her expressions, body language, and urgency reveal mounting frustration. If her teammates don't start playing with more intensity, especially on defense, burnout won't just be a risk, it'll become an inevitability. And once that happens, the storyline writes itself. A superstar pushed to her limits, fighting to keep her team afloat amid mounting pressure.
Down by 2, WNBA MVP Aja Wilson could not make a simple layup. She's worse as Angel.
Let's focus on Kelsey Plum, the sharpshooter, the floor leader, and perhaps the player who orchestrated a daring get-out escape from a team headed for trouble. Plum's absence is now echoing louder than any official statement could convey. When she left, some fans questioned whether she needed Wilson more than Wilson needed her. Was stepping away from a championship-caliber team really the best move? Now, the answer seems painfully obvious. Wilson needed Plum far more than Plum needed Wilson. With Plum, the Aces had a dynamic, fearless scorer who could stretch the floor, draw defenders, and create space for Wilson to thrive. Without her, the spacing is disorganized, and Wilson is being double-teamed night after night, as if it's a playoff game in June every time she touches the ball. The team lacks rhythm, and there's no consistent outside threat to take pressure off the paint. Opponents quickly recognize this vulnerability, and it's affecting everything on the court. Plum's absence highlights just how crucial her impact was in maintaining the team's offensive balance and flow.
But I thought the fourth quarter execution, the defense was not up to snuff at all. Way too much dribble penetration. And the other thing I'm disappointed in is if the Aces are going to, and this is something to build on with the Liberty in terms of the rivalry and the matchup, if you're going to play 4 smalls, you can't let a much bigger team compete with you and not run them off the floor. I think they got to be running and making Jonquel Jones tired. You got to make New York go small with your defense and your pace, and you certainly can't get beat off the dribble as much as the Aces did.
It's like watching a beautifully coordinated dance suddenly fall apart because someone forgot the steps. The Aces' offense simply doesn't flow the same without Plum. There's no spark, no perimeter threat that truly keeps defenses honest. Now, everything falls on Wilson's shoulders, and it's evident. Meanwhile, Plum appears to be living her best life. The Las Vegas Aces are in serious trouble, and no one feels it more than Becky Hammon. The reigning champions seem less like a dynasty and more like a cautionary tale about how quickly greatness can slip away. A'ja Wilson is still trying to carry this team, acting like a war general with a shattered crown, fighting through a battlefield of missed assignments, disappearing shooters, and defensive lapses. She's doing everything she can, patching up gaps, leading the charge, yet the house continues to burn around her. The cracks are widening, and the urgency for change is becoming impossible to ignore.
What I would say is the best, as of right this second, the best player in the league. All right. She's won, I don't know how many MVPs, won one last year. A'ja Wilson continues to not only not try to be the face of the league, but to actively push people away that are trying to watch it. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, and I said this yesterday when I saw this, I tend to believe athletes make the worst sports commentators, all right? And in the case of the WNBA, it's really true. Why? They can't put their own ego, jealousy, and pettiness aside to be...
Meanwhile, the rest of the team seems more focused on roasting marshmallows over the flames than actually extinguishing them. Hammon isn't just sounding the alarm in the huddle anymore. She's ringing sirens, waving red flags, and issuing urgent evacuation orders. This isn't merely a mid-season slump. It feels like a championship hangover that's spiraling into a full-blown identity crisis. Once considered the most formidable roster in the league, the Aces now seem on the verge of collapse. Unless they rediscover their fight, and quickly, Wilson's MVP bid could be derailed by the team's mounting inconsistency. If things don't turn around soon, this dynasty won't just stall, it might completely implode. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.